Gen Next Netas. Today I'm coming to you from Silchar in Assam. We are here to meet a leader who's known to be the voice of Assam in Parliament. She's made several passionate speeches on the floor of the House and is also the president of the All India Mahila Congress. Meet Sushmita Dev, the Congress MP from Silchar, Assam.
মনজয় করার জন্য বা তাদের মধ্যে গিয়ে কাজ করার জন্য প্রত্যেকটা গার্ডেনে আপনারা মহিলাদের একটা টিম বানানো। एक आदमी अगर खड़ा होकर उनको पूछ ले कि इतने जो लोग मर गए आपने क्या किया, उनको जो जवाब नहीं दे पाएंगे किसी मीटिंग।
We are joined by Sushmita Dev in a beautiful tea garden here in Silchar, Assam. Sushmita, you are getting ready now for elections 2019. How has the first 5 years been as an MP?
See, being in opposition has not been easy because of the strength in which the BJP government was formed. What was more difficult was the fact that this government has very little regard for the opposition. It's been a tough road, but I think it made me stronger as a person. What I've tried to do is get facilities like the Passport Seva Kendra in Silchar, so that people don't have to travel all the way there. I've tried to spend a lot of money in sports infrastructure and put money into what I feel are institutions that promote my culture.
You are the Mahila Congress president, and also we have seen several passionate speeches by you in the parliament, especially when it came to triple talaq, the citizenship amendment bill, this firebrand politician that we know you as, that has come about only recently.
See, I always speak from the heart, and given my legal background, what I also tend to do is I make sure I'm legally correct. So I think it's a combination of that I've tried to maintain, whether it's my speech on the insolvency code, whether it's my speech on triple talaq, whether it is my speech on women's security. So idea is not to just criticize the government, but to constructively criticize the government.
The rest of India versus Northeast kind of perception that people have. How are you as an MP, as a elected representative from this area, fighting to make sure that that perception is eased in a certain manner?
See, when I first walked into Parliament, and because I'm a Bengali, they said, oh, you're an MP from West Bengal. So it took me a couple of months to convince the people that I am not from West Bengal. Not that I have anything against anyone coming from West Bengal, but I had to say that I come from Silchar and it is in Assam, that perception. You see the disconnect. When I say disconnect, I don't mean just roads, railways and airways. The disconnect between northeastern states and the mainland of India is primarily because of connectivity. So the only way to integrate this is not always people from northeast flooding to the mainland. I think what needs to be done is primarily make sure people from the mainland come into northeast. A lot of people in the northeast feel that why should people from Bangladesh come into any of the northeastern states. Now what I am saying is that in Assam, elections are going on, people on the voters list are voting, and at the same time the people who are voting for us and sending us to Parliament and Assembly, we are telling them that you have to prove your citizenship. So what kind of an anomaly is this? My solution was, whoever's on the 2014 voters list, to my mind are citizens, and Tarun Gogoiji also says that, so they should be declared as citizens.
But how do you think your strategy has been when it comes to attracting young voters, attracting the first-time voters, asking them to come out and vote for you, and even otherwise take part in elections?
See, the biggest issue with across genders for first-time voters and younger voters is why is the job market shrinking? And believe me, they feel it every single day of their lives. People don't understand why small businesses are not flourishing under this government. This is something that maybe that age group can't articulate, but they feel it every single day. And that's what I will take to them. I hope that I succeed, And if I don't, it's a part of life. And luckily, I'm a barrister, so I'll have a lot of work in High Court and Supreme Court. But my favorite job has been to represent my people, and that's what I'd like to continue doing. এক কাজ করেন, আমার লাগাতার প্রোগ্রাম, হ্যাঁ আপনি 14 তারিখ আসেন 12টার সময়, আমাকে পারেন 11টার সময়, ঠিক আছে?
We are with Sushmita Dev here in Silchar. It is a hectic time because of Lok Sabha elections, and generally during election time politicians are on the road for several public meetings that they have to attend through the day. So Sushmita, for a normal course of the day, I'm sure you attend a lot of meetings as well, but during elections, what's your time on the road like?
I think from the time we open our eyes in the morning and the few hours sleep that you get, you're constantly on the road, because the normal expectation out of the voters is that they want a personal appeal to come on behalf of the candidate. Although I have one advantage, that I'm standing for the second time, so most people know me, but yet traditionally everybody expects that we'll go out and make another appeal and convince them why they should vote for us. So we work almost 18-19 hours to the run up to the election, and most of our time is spent on the road. And even when we reach home or the party office, you're briefed about what's happening in the other side of your constituency, which you're not there.
Ma'am, the challenges of reach, as you were saying, certain areas are completely remote and cut off, and the only way to access them is to walk up to that point. But other than that, how much of a role does social media play in a region like this in your political campaign?
See, we think the whole country is running on Twitter. It's not. My constituency, hardly anybody is on Twitter. But yes, Facebook does have an impact, I feel, in my constituency. WhatsApp does have an impact. But it is a fallacy to think that the digital world can reach hilltops and remote areas. And don't be surprised when I tell you that whole lot of people don't have an Android phone. That's the reality.
Is there anything that you absolutely must have in your car when you go out for your meetings?
Well, I practically live in my car, so I have it's a survival kit, and everything that I need, a bit of everything is here, like an extra pair of shoe, extra set of clothes, food, my lip balm, an extra pair of glasses, because you don't know what's going to happen to you, on the way. So it's like a mini home in your car, and I think every politician does that. इसको पहनने के बाद हारना अलाउड नहीं है, मेरा नाम लिखा है इसमें.
Do you have a favorite sports person? You are actually interacting with a lot of young footballers over here. Are you interested in
See, my father was a very well-known footballer of this valley. Okay, and he was an excellent tennis player also. So our family has always shown keen interest in sports. So my father was he came up from sports and went on to politics. So our family is very closely associated to sports, and I think what we have here is very talented young boys who belong to the T tribes. Okay, their favorite sport is football, and in our area there's a lot of rainfall, so football is a more common game.
Who's your favorite footballer?
Well, my favorite,
not among them, even among them or otherwise.
I think it'll have to be. Sorry, I'm old school. When I was growing up, now I'm old, it was Maradona. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Right. Anything as a mother that you feel that a side of her that the world doesn't know?
as a mother, though, it is correct that I never thought that she will be able to do so much of things, but I am very much proud that her activities are so good.
We have actually seen her giving a lot of very passionate speeches in Parliament.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of them?
Yeah, no, I have not been there, but in TV I saw, and I was very happy and feeling proud also.
Which one is your favorite? Which one do you remember?
I remember that that lecture she gave on the Taltin Talak, that is very, very appreciable. I like that, very good.
Anything that you would as a mother think that should change about her, which you have tried very hard for her to change, but it has not happened?
Yes,
yet?
she has a lot of change in her after joining, especially in politics.
But still something which needs to change.
Oh, yeah. About marriage, so now we forgot about that. Initially, when she came back from the London, then we tried. And her father was very much, he is very reluctant, and he doesn't care whether she got married or not. She is not like that. But I used to tell him. So he used to tell me that if she doesn't want to, if she doesn't have any interest, why you are insisting her. But gradually, I talked to her, and ultimately I realized that she is not very interested in this marriage life. And now I am thinking, the type she is, because such a busy life, and she doesn't have anything, even his own work also she doesn't remember whether she has taken her specs or she left her phone like that. Being a married, no husband will like all these things. Wife is like that. I said, thank God she didn't marry. It's a good decision, I think, for her.
But this is, I don't know, when he became a cabinet minister.
We are here at Sushmita Dev's residence in Silchar, and we of course are at her place where, ma'am, we have been walking around even in Silchar and spoken to people, and your father's legacy is still very much there. People do remember him, and a lot of people, as you were also saying, who have worked with him before and now are seeing you working in the political field. So if you could just tell us, what has been your initial impression about political life as you've seen growing up as a child here in Delhi and in Silchar with your father?
See, my earliest memory of my father's tells me that his entry into politics, or the entry of my grandfather into politics, in that era was not driven by power. If you belong to a family which has generally served the people even without being in politics, those are the kind of families people have faith in, is my understanding, which many people call dynastic.
You went abroad and you studied law. So at what point did you, or was this like a foundation stone that you thought had to be laid before you got into a full-fledged political career?
See, I joined politics in Delhi University while I was studying political science honors. I was the president of Miranda House also. And I was trying to decide between international relations and law. And my father was of the view that I should do a hardcore professional course, because he said that, you should always be in a position to put food on your table. He was very clear about that, and especially being a father of 4 daughters, like economic empowerment is a challenge for women, even today. He used to take great pride in saying, my daughter is a barrister, bar at law. That's a very old school, especially Bengalis. I mean, they think like being a barrister is like the coolest thing. In 2009, basically, I was in practice for almost 8 years. And in the legal profession, it takes a little bit of time before you establish your credibility. So I was just at that stage. He lost his election in 2009. And his results may have come out in the May of 2009. And all his supporters, workers, people were devastated. And then came the municipal elections in the month of June or July. And basically, contrary to popular belief about being a dynast and getting it as an entitlement, I was sitting in Delhi enjoying my practice. I was literally given no choice by the, like my ward where I live. So they literally sent a single name to the party. And I had no clue. So my father called up and said, you don't have a choice now. They've issued the nomination in your name. You have to come. Yeah, I take some pride in the fact that I fought 3 elections in 5 years. And I am very grateful to my party because I got a municipal commissioner's ticket. I became the mayor of my town. Then I asked for an MLA ticket. I got it. Then I asked for an MP ticket, I got it. But I'm sure my party is also happy that I won all 3 elections.
Ma'am, I'll have to refer to a couple of the pictures behind you. You work closely with Rahul Gandhi. Of course, you are the president of Mahila Congress. What can you tell us about your working relationship with the Congress president?
See, I think his biggest strength is that he doesn't have a coterie. But he has an excellent relationship with a plethora of people.
Do see or hear that, he does like a few young netas. He is surrounded by a few young leaders who he feels also are probably, contemporaries who are going to grow with him. You are also, seen as one of them.
I think he thrives on the fact that there are so many of us who are his age, who are coming up in the Congress party. And I think Ashok Gehlot ji was really close to him. K.C. Venugopal ji is so close to him. At the same time, Scindia ji is close to him. Rajiv Satav is close to him. Gaurav Gogoi is close to him. You're saying I'm close to him. So what I'm saying is he's managed to keep everyone thinking that he's close to them. And I think that's an art.
With elections just around the corner, tea garden workers in the state become a key vote base, which is why in her busy schedule, she has in fact figured out time to meet tea garden workers and understand their issues and problems to ensure that her vote base is intact.
Today, last 10 বছর বা 15 বছর যে কংগ্রেস করি যে প্রত্যেকটা বাগানে অলরেডি কমিটি আছে।
बीजेपी का एक स्लोगन है कि मैं चाय बेचने वाला एक चाय बागान का लड़का हूँ, लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री बन गया हूँ। लेकिन चाय बनाने वाला हम लोग चाय बागान का आदमी है। चाय जो होता है, जो चारा गाछ लगाते हैं, वो लोग आज कहाँ पर है?
जो उनको जो नेतृत्व करती है, हम लोग का चाय बागान के जो लड़के लोग जाते हैं, हम लोग उनके घर पे भी जाते हैं, वो लोग हम लोग पर्सनल हम लोग से मिलती है, हम लोग से बात करती है, उनका एफर्ट बहुत अच्छा रहता है। एज ए यूथ लीडर हम लोग का मतलब टीम लीड करके चलती है वो।
Do you believe in these direct interactions? Because it's very rare that we actually see politicians get the time to have these very intimate small meetings.
See, no politician can win without a machinery. And what is your machinery? Who are your hands, legs, eyes, ears? It's your foot soldier. Today, as a member of parliament, I can't reach every booth. I have 1200 plus booths. Who are the people who go there and collect my votes? It's these people. They are my foot soldiers.
যারা আমার ডান দিকে বসা রয়েছেন আর যারা আমার বাঁ দিকে বসা রয়েছেন তাদের রিলেশন সন্তোষ মন্ডলের সঙ্গে আমি বলবো আমি পিকচারে অনেক পরে এসেছি
উনি যে সাংসদ থাকার আমি অনেক কাজ করেছেন আমাদের শিলচরের জন্য, আর আশা করি ভবিষ্যতে আমাদের রাস্তাটা যেন উনি ঠিক করে দেবেন।
সেটার জন্য আমি আমার আন্তরিক ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি। এবং আমার কি পারফরমেন্স ভালো না খারাপ আজকাল ইউটিউব আর হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে সবই খবর পৌঁছে যায়।
Former Union Minister and late Santosh Mohan Dev's name still looms large here in Silchar constituency of Assam. But Sushmita has managed to come out of the shadows of her father and made a name for herself. She has not lost a single election till date from Silchar in Assam. Will her winning luck continue this year as well?